Hey guys, it's April. Um, first of all want to apologize that I will not be live tonight. I know that I scheduled it and was ready, but however, I didn't know that I was going to wake up this morning with the start of a migraine, and it has progressively gotten worse. I've taken meds and it doesn't seem to be getting better. So I am going to try my best to make it through a recorded video for you guys to cover all the topics that we were going to cover tonight. Um, I'm on the verge of tears. You might be able to hear it in my voice, and I do apologize for that. I'm going to try to remain as upbeat as possible here. One of the first things I want to cover is some of you guys got those free files from Craft HTV. Some of those files are good and some of them are not, but they were still free nonetheless. But there are issue with a couple of files, Baby Jungle being one, and you can see it here on my desktop. What you're going to do, a lot of people don't understand, you're going to go to the site and you're going to download. Once you download, if you're on Google Chrome, you're going to see in the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see your downloads. You're going to click on those and you're going to right-click and extract your folders if you're on a Windows computer, because you cannot upload a zipped file. So they have to be extracted. If you're on a Mac, and I'm going to see if I can pull this down where you guys can see it. If you're on a Mac, you have this little button here, and this is where your downloads go. And you click on that, and then you just double click the folder. It unzips it automatically for you on a Mac. When I went to upload, and I couldn't get it to upload the Baby Jungle SVG, this is the original. This is the one I saved it as. I got the same message. If you try to drag it in, you will see, let's see if it will do it here. It may take it a moment to show you. The uploaded SVGs contain the following that are not supported: pattern fills and clipping paths. And if you hit continue, this is all you're going to get. That's not going to help you. So we're going to go back, and this is a little thing that you can do. If you're on a Windows computer, you're going to need a snipping tool. And you have that on all your Windows computers. And if you come over to Microsoft, they will tell you how to use that and how to find it. But this is the icon. This is what it looks like. It's been a while since I used the Windows computer, but let's see. I believe I went to my Start menu, went to Accessories, Tools, something like that. And the snipping tool is in there. So you'll just have to look for it. It's very easy to use. And they tell you here, Start Snipping Tool, Search Box, or Type Snipping Tool if you're on Windows 7. But they give it to you, all the directions to find it. And then you're just going to click on it, and then you just snip out what you want. If you're on a Mac, you hit Command-Shift-4, and with the snipping tool, you just connect it, and then you just drag it around what you want to snip, and you snip that. And as you can see here, I just snipped this with my Mac. The snipping tool does the same exact thing. So what I did is I went to the downloads folder instead of trying to drag it over into Design Space, and I double clicked on it and it opens up in Chrome. Okay, and once it opened up in Chrome, let's just open it here. Just going to double click it, and you see my Chrome, well, you may not be able to see, my little Chrome ball is bouncing here. And let's see, that popped up on my other screen, so let me drag it over for you guys. It's going to open up like this. So how do I get that into Design Space? I'm going to hit my Command-Shift-4, or you're going to use your snipping tool. And you can take them all in if you want, or I think it's best if you just snip the one you want. And I'm just going to minimize that. I'm just going to show you with one. And then I am going to drag that image into Design Space. I'm going to hit Complex. Now it is not an SVG. If you have Shortcuts a Lot 5, you can change this to an SVG, okay? And I think you can save as a PNG with your snipping tool. But I'm just going to hit Continue, and then I'm going to take away the white space and hit Continue. Now, as a cut image, I'm just going to get the shape, but as a print and cut, I'm going to get that image. So that's the way you do it. You want to, of course, name it and tag it. So that's one way to do it. And again, if you have to have the cut image, you can always change your print and cut to a shape. So you can print one and cut one and then adhere them together and get your look. Or if you just want to have it all layered out, to me, this is just too many tiny pieces, and I would use it as a print and cut anyway. But if you have to have an SVG, use Shortcuts a lot or Inkscape and convert it into an SVG. They simply just didn't save the file correctly, or either use some elements that are not supported by Design Space. So that covers that. The next thing that I want to show you is going to be Winter Chicken Dinner. Because I am not able to do it, I am going to go to my project camera. Here is a clip of the names and the numbers that I were chosen from last week. I apologize for anybody that's new. You can jump in and next week and give me a number, and I'll be happy to put your name down, because you keep your number unless you're not present. So these people have numbers. I'm going to draw a number and announce it. I'm going to draw it live, and then I'll come over and see who won and announce that. And you'll have one day to, I'm going to say by Tuesday at 7 p.m. to message me and claim it. If not, then I will draw another winner. That's the best I know how to do it. And go ahead and get a winner chicken dinner for this week. I don't know what the prize is. It's going to be a mystery surprise. You'll get something in the mail, and of course you'll get your chocolate bar. So that will cover winter chicken dinner. Everything else is going to be done on the project camera. So I'm going to go ahead and swap over to the project camera, and we'll put the project together and cover a couple more things that have gone on this week, and we'll pull that winter chicken dinner prize. So let's go ahead and swap over and get that done. If I can make my computer work here. Okay, covering a few things. This week I uploaded several files, one of them being the Shaker Halloween box. This has the little wobblies. You can get those from scrapbook.com. I will provide links below for places where you can get these. The googly eyes, I think I left this on the list for you guys too when I posted it in the chat. The googly eyes I got at Hobby Lobby on clearance a while back, but you may still be able to find them there. I used some lime green and some black and some metallic purple sequins as well. The wobbles you can find, like I said, at scrapbook.com. Just a little fun element. And then the tag, I have some little googly eyes on the back of that. Everything is set up in the file for you guys on that box in the Designs tab for all my Patreons. If you're not a Patreon supporter, please go to Patreon and consider supporting me. Greatly appreciate all my patrons. Thank you so much. Special shout out to Rhonda Morales. I really appreciate your patronage. Thank you very, very, very much. For you guys who like to use the Nuvo drops on your cards and stuff, I also loaded on the website craftingwithapril.co a Nuvo drops chart. So you guys can print that out and then put your Nuvo drops. I did have an error on there. This is in white that says glitter drops across the crystal drops across the top on there. But I wasn't going to reprint mine because I already had my drops on there. But there is a chart in there for you guys who are using Nuvo drops and collecting those. I think it adds that little extra element to the cards. I love to use them. If you know, I mean, you can use enamel dots or sequins or anything where I use these. But if you haven't ever tried the Nuvo drops, try them. You'll love them. It's just like today's card. I am going to probably use that pink champagne. But this chart just allows me to take my cardstock and match it up because they kind of look different in the bottles. If you can see, this looks more purpley, but once it dries, it's more of a pink tone. So that chart really helps me in picking my color element. Nothing worse than putting something on your card and then when it dries, it's a totally different color. So I also had somebody that wanted me to show some of the tips and tricks about the Cricut trimmer that some of you may or may not know. And I use two. I keep one with a scoring blade in it, which has the gray cap on it. And then when we got this in the mystery box that had the one with the blue in it, you can see I use mine constantly. I decided I would use that and make that my blade. And at a glance, I can tell which one is score and which one is cut just by the color of the caps. So just a little couple of tricks. If you have one of these, you probably have found it. Some people have not. They don't notice it when they look at it on the website. But you do have this swing out ruler here to help you, this guide, to help you keep your cardstock straight when you're going to cut it, so that you can line it up against that edge and it remains straight. Also, another little feature of it, each one of these grids is I want to say 1/2 inch. Might be a 1/4 inch. Let me look here. See, I have a migraine going, so I can't. Yeah, it's 1/2 inch. I can't. 1/4 inch. Woo! I can't even think. So each one of these grids is a 1/4 inch, as you can see. 1, 2, 3, and you see that 1 inch right there. This right here, this space is a 1/4 inch. So if you count the space and then 3 of them, you're at the 1 inch mark. So that will help you when you're trying to angle something or wanting to put something on an angle. Knowing what the grid is for will help there as well. And if you'll look on the cutting mechanism, your slide, this has a notch in it, and that tells you exactly where you're going to be cutting. Let me see if I can grab just a scrap of paper really quick here. If you're cutting, if I can get this in the camera, and you wanted to, say, put a slit in there, and you wanted it, you know that your paper is, let's just say 2 inches. Oh, 2 1/4, I wasn't off much. It's 2 1/4, and you want your cut to start at, it's hard to see on that paper, let me flip that over. You wanted the slit to start at 1 inch. Then you can bring this over to that 1 inch mark and just do that slit for as far as you needed it to be. So that really helps line this up. I believe there is one on both sides, so you can do inch or millimeter. So you have that where it'll tell you where to stop and start your cuts. So that really helps on that. Another little tip and trick that a lot of people don't know, when you flip this over, the back looks like it does absolutely nothing. Now, I'm not going to open this. We're just going to pretend that one of my extra blades is a score blade. This is a storage area. So if you only have one and you have to swap your blades in and out, you have a place to store them. And I just take them out of the little plastic piece, the protective cover. Don't cut yourself. And you notice there's a groove in there. That groove is for your blade so that you don't damage the blade. And then you just pull it back and it will clip in right there. So if you turn your trimmer over, it's not going to fall out. Okay? And then we're going to pretend that this is a score blade and it will go on the other end here. And you're just going to push them. And sometimes it's tighter. This one I've used some, so it's not as tight as the other, but that is for your storage. Okay? To change your blade out, just going to use the one that's easy. Don't be afraid that you're going to break it. You can push it. If you're having a hard time pushing it out, you can take a pair of scissors or something. Let's see if I can get it. And just push up on it, be prepared to catch it, but usually it doesn't fly that far. So that you have places to store your spare blades. I'm just going to leave these spare blades on here, since I've already used all the spares that I had stored. But to change your blade, how do you change it? And this is the way that I do it. There are several ways, I'm pretty sure. I just put my blade on the track and then I lay my ruler down. Then I take this and I just lift up on it, okay? Leaving the old blade, and you can scoot that down to the bottom until you're ready. And then you're just going to snap that cap back over it, and then you can toss out the old blade. So that's, let me just go ahead and get rid of that. It was about ready to be done anyway. So that's how you change out your blade on your trimmer. You're not going to break anything. And like I said, just hold down on your ruler and lift up on that cap. It will pop loose. You may have to use some force until you've done it a few times. You're not going to break it. And then while holding it, just press the cap back down on it. And that will allow you to change it out. So I hope that helps some of you guys out on the trimmer tips and tricks. Now let's get down to the card. This is a wiper card, and I've made this one like a little baby rattle with the 3D bow. I think this is the Jen Goody bow. You can change that out if you want to. If there's anything in the file that cost you or is not, you don't have access and don't use the access images, then you can, of course, swap out those images. And you're going to need your cardstock. This particular cardstock is, I want to say, I apologize, I'm not have everything to go. This was Petite Prints by Doodlebug Designs. Double-sided. This is the Swimming Pool Swiss Dot. So they have, that swimming pool, I believe, is the color of that one. But it's the Swiss Dot cardstock. So, and you could probably, I've had it for a year or so. You could probably find it on Amazon or scrapbook.com or Blitsy. All the links are below for all of those. And then on the back, I've done congratulations on your bundle of joy. And again, I've added some Nuvo drops here. And then when you pull the card apart, you get that pop-up of the congratulations. And here you have the name of the baby, length, pound, and ounces. And then on the back, you have the birth date and the hospital where they were born. Cute little keepsake for new grandparents or parents that you can send to congratulate them. The file I said in my other video to bring you guys here, set an envelope would be in there. I forgot to put the envelope in, so I will go. If you've gotten the file already, please just, I will just put, instead of, because I did this in 3 files for you guys and I forgot to put it in there, I'm going to add it to the base file of the shaker card. Or I'm sorry, the base without the shaker in it. And then I will also upload it as a standalone envelope that this card will fit into. You may even have one in Design Space. This ends up being 5.5 by 4.5. So I mean, it's not really an odd size. It's a 1/4 inch off from being an A2, but it will fit. It's your depth that's the issue. And I have some dimensional envelopes, but not to fit this. So I will make one that this will fit in and leave it as a standalone. It's just going to be a day or two. I have to get rid of this migraine before I can actually go into designing. So let's go ahead and get started and put this card together. It's really quick. It's really easy. And you guys will see that. If you're cutting the shaker, then you have the hole in yours, and if you're not cutting the shaker, you're just going to have the panels, solid panels, okay? And one is a little slightly larger than the other, of course, and let's just start with the back. We're going to put these together because I want the glue to dry a little bit before I start putting it on the card itself. And let's make sure that I'm on the right side. And I'm just going to, a little bit of art glitter glue. Pay attention to your corners and your edges. Art glitter glue is also available on craftingwithapryl.co in my shop. And I have a clearance sale going on over there, guys. A lot of the stuff is gone. Most of it is there's still some things there. There's never a sale on art glitter glue. They don't allow us to discount that. But everything else is on clearance. It has to go. I need space in my craft room, and I just don't sell enough of it fast enough. I don't have enough overturn to keep stocking it. So I'm just going to do away with everything except art glitter glue and art glitter glue accessories. So there's panel 1. Do not glue this panel yet. This panel you want to hold off on. You're not going to use your little baby rattle piece yet, but you can go ahead and glue these panels together. And you can mix and match these if you want. I am just going to do mine like I did on the blue one. Let's see if I can get up here in camera a little bit better. And you can totally use I got that off. Let's see if I can peel it apart. And no, well, maybe the recipient won't notice that I was a little bit off there. So you're just going to glue those. You can use your Tombos and stuff like that if you want. However, it doesn't give you wiggle room, and I really didn't have enough glue on that to give me wiggle room. It's set too fast. That's why I'm an over gluer. I like to be able to maneuver and move mine around. And I didn't put much on that, and it's set before I can move it. And I can't recut it because I don't have any more of this paper. I cut these files before I actually tested it, so this one's going to have a little bit of Bo Bunny bow dots on it because this one is too big. And I want you guys to notice that when you're doing your image, because you can make this anything you want. It doesn't have to be a welcome baby, and you don't have to use a banner. You can use any image you want up here, and I'll show you a little bit more. The original size that I had, I forgot that I had it tilted in the file, and so when I sized it wrong. And if I were to put that in there, when it closes back up, I'm going to fold it so about that much of it was sticking and hanging. So you don't want that. And this measures just over 3 inches, about 3 1/4 inches, maybe a little bit more, maybe 3 and I don't know. Let's see, 5/8, 3/8, 5/8. So I'm going to say keep your image width 3 inches or less, okay? And so when you're designing it, you'll have the correct size. This one is just at 3, is right at exactly 3 inches. So finished size on this is 3 inches in the width. The length of it is, again, 3 inches. So I wouldn't go bigger than a 3 by 3. The good thing about this card is that's the very last thing that goes on, and you can use your Tombow to check it and make sure that it's in the right spot before you actually glue it down. So that's the great thing about this card, that being the last piece. Now I have this little bow on mine, so I am going to, because this bow, it gets so wet in the center, I want to make sure that it gets dry before I start fooling with it a lot. If you're using this bow, you're just going to glue them in this manner, however wide you want your bow to be. And I just kind of make mine into an X. I don't want it to be a plus sign. So I've got that piece. And then you're going to flip it over. And I kind of just use my fingers. You can use a curling tool. This is the Sizzix curling. Just make sure that you, when you're curling, that you hold this up at the fat part and not down here where it's damp from the glue. You don't want to tear it, and you don't need to curl it that much. Just enough to give it a bend, because you can fluff this back up if you need to. And you're just going to give it a little bit of a bend, and then just very little glue. This is a very tiny piece, and if you get too much glue, it gets really, really wet and your paper starts to tear. And it's kind of 3D, so you can see it'll spring back up on you. You have to actually hold that down and get a grip on it. Give it a second to dry. In between. And I just, now this little piece is the center, and I opted out of using that, but you're just going to, if you're using it, you're just going to curl it like in a circle. It's a very small piece, okay? And then you're going to glue it, oops, that is the back. Glue it with the front piece to the front, and then you're going to wrap it around and glue it on the back here. Okay, but I opted out of that option. I didn't want to use this piece. Instead, I like the Nuvo drop. And you can use enamel dots and stuff like that. Any of it will work. And as you notice, I glued mine this way, giving it that curl down, so that when I actually go and put it on the card itself, when I press it down, it gives it that lift up to the top. So just go ahead and let it dry upside down and give it that curl down like so, and set it to the side. These pieces are going to go on right after the bow, so we don't need those right now. And next you'll want to glue. I used Cricut shimmer paper for the banner, and then I of course cut my coordinating color. And you're just going to kind of tack this down across the top. You don't need a lot of glue for this piece. And I was able, in that file, the one with the babies on it, you can maneuver your pieces around and get all of this out of one sheet of paper, but you will need to, everything that's a dark color, you need to flip it horizontally in the file. And if you flip all the dark pieces horizontally in the file and then color sync them to the same color, you can maneuver them and get them all out of one sheet. Let me see. As you can see here, my panels at the top, I moved. It had these smaller panels here, all of these panels. It had them all lined up here, and I just turned them down here at the bottom, moved them down, and got all of the pieces out of one sheet of paper. You can see I have very little waste there. But I did have to mirror this because they're not symmetrical on this, the bow here. So make sure that you change that, and make sure you flip this piece. I don't think it was symmetrical either, but I flipped it just in case. So everything that's a dark color, you can just flip it. These don't matter, the panels don't matter, because they're the same size either way that you look at it. This one matters. You have to flip this one, or either you're going to end up with two of them the same color. They won't line up. All right, now that we have all of that, all of our little embellishment pieces, last one here, get that to line up, center. Those dots are pink instead of white, but it matches, so it's going to be okay. I wasn't able to get enough pieces out of the scraps that I had. All right, now for this piece, you're going to need the jelly bean soup small circles. You can get those at scrapbook.com. I think they're about $3, something like that. They're always on clearance. What I did first is I looked at this, and it may be because of my migraine. That looks purpley to me. I used the Queen and Company toppings for this other one. It matched pretty good, but this one looks purple to me. So I opted for some glass beads that I have on this one, and I'm just going to put quite a few in there. And I'm going to peel this. I can't find my reading tool. Let's see. There it is. You're just going to peel this off. Now you can put an image behind this if you want to and print it on white paper. I have the file set up. I cut to. You can put it on white paper and put it on there, or you can use the clear transparency. That's what I used. And I'm just going to kind of center it up. It doesn't have to be exact. And then make sure it gets a good press down all the way around. And if you're using micro beads and the toppings like the other, they can escape and get to the sides, but it's okay. It won't hurt anything as long as it's sealed and nothing is coming out. Then, this is going to be my top piece. I am just going to take some of this Tombow tape runner, and I'm going to go around the back panel circle. And then I'm just going to line that up best I can and get it centered and press it down as well. It's a little sticky, but that's okay. And then this piece is going to glue right over the top of that. That's why I said don't put these together yet, because you don't want anything back here. If we were to put this on and then put it onto this piece here, did I just mess up? I think I just messed up. I put it on the wrong one. See, my migraine. See, and I pressed it down really good too. Let's see. Mistakes, mistakes. Got that off. Let's see if I can get this one off. Being that I used tape instead of glue, I may be okay. Carefully. Actually, I didn't mess up. I'm nuts, guys. Really, I am. I don't know. Yeah, I do know what's wrong with me. I have a massive migraine going. Let's see. Let me get that stuck back down. Do as I say, not as I do. That's right. Okay. Woo! All right. Carry on. Don't pull yours apart. You did it right the first time. So now we're just going to glue this panel to the top. I tell you what, this is about the worst migraine I've had in a while, a long while. I may end up going to the doctor when I finish this. So then we're just going to kind of center that. Give it a little peep of the pink is okay around the center, but I pay more attention to the edges and get that lined up. And then press it down. That way it's going to be sealed in there. It's not going anywhere. Not going to hurt anything. And next we are going to glue this panel onto the front piece of the card. Right here. And you're just going to glue it right on the front. Lining up your cardstock. Just like that. Then we have the back piece. And the back piece is going to fold valley and then mountain. Okay? And then when you have it this way, it's valley and then mountain, and then you're going to flip it just like this. So it's to the back. And this one is valley and then mountain as well. Just giving it a Z. You're making a Z out of it. Okay. And so let's go ahead and, now that I have this, make sure I have it the right way with my headache. Yep. You don't want your print to be upside down, so. If you have anything written on the back of it. You can add another white card. I noticed that mine was a little hard to read. I wanted it to be subtle, so I used a gel pen. I didn't want it to be bold in your face, because this card will stand up, guys, like on a shelf or a table. Be cute on the baby's dresser till the new wears off at least, and then you put it up as a keepsake. And then you're just going to press that piece on. Okay. And we have our panels. My glue is almost empty. It keeps falling over. You're just going to place those on just like that. I did not put my banners and things on until after I had the card mechanism together, just simply to make sure that I put them where I wanted them, my bow and my rattler piece and things like that. But if you feel confident, you can go ahead and place those. This one I'm going to go ahead and place. I will wait on those pieces. And this doesn't need a lot of glue either. I kind of hit just the bottom of some of the letters. I didn't want them flop, but you could certainly pop dot this up. It is a banner, so, but I just didn't want it to lift off. Get it. There we go. Now, you have, and I have lost it, you've either cut it out of cardstock or it's clearing now. I can't see it. Let me pull Winter Winter Chicken Dinner while I look for that piece of number 34. Who has number 34? I am going to go over here and take a look on my computer. Number 34, Kathy Durking. You are a winner chicken dinner, so please contact me by 7 o'clock Tuesday, 8/21, and claim winner chicken dinner. If you don't claim it by 7 o'clock, I'll draw a new winner. So now, since I cannot see it on my table, and it's possible that I dropped it as well, I'm just going to cut another one. I could use my trimmer for this. I really need the one that I lost. You'll notice that there's a score on that card, and I have one here of paper just so you can see it. Let me see if I can turn this exposure down a little bit so it doesn't reflect as bad and you can see it. You want to fold that back and forth a couple of times, just like so, okay? And since I don't have my other one, it did score on the transparency. It wasn't very dark. I'm going to suggest that you use your double score wheel to get that fold. And I'm just going to fold that back and forth on this transparency a couple of times. I don't recommend the foil acetate. It may work just fine, but it's not going to be seen, so I really wouldn't waste my good stock on it. But just bend it back and forth a couple of times to give it a bend in it. And then you're going to flip this over. I'm trying to remember. I'm just going to put a little bit of the Tombow tape on there for right now. And I may have to just put that on the wrong side. I did. It doesn't really matter that much. This is going to line up about 1 3/4 inches down, and just on this corner and just on the center panel. Okay, I did have a score in there. I do have a score, but you can't see it on the other side, and you can't flip this piece because of the print and cut. So the score is not deep enough to come through, but if you take your nail and just rub it slightly, you'll see it. Or you can just lay a ruler there and get that on there. So you're just going to put it on the front side of your transparency, and you're going to line this transparency up right on that score line. Keep it straight and just on that corner. That's all you're going to glue. So it should be glued just like this, and you can bend it back and forth or back a couple more times if you need to. You can't pull it forward anymore, but that's going to complete that piece. So when we do this card, that piece is going to hide. And this is why I say use transparency. You see that it shows behind here. Now if you use a white cover on your shaker piece, then it won't matter. You can use white cardstock. It won't matter. But when it comes up to the top, you're going to have to trim that. And if you're not very good like I am with trimming, then you'll see that white cardstock. You may want to see that little white edge because the card has the little white edge. Now we're going to take these two pieces, and we're only going to glue on this large panel. And I like to use glue here. If your mechanism is working and you think it might come off using the tape, I don't think it will. I think the Tombow will hold it. You can glue that with art glitter glue, but I think it'll be fine. If you're using a 3x3 image and it's not just a small banner, like that's only about 3/4 of an inch wide, then you may want to use cardstock or glue to glue your piece on there, because you don't want your image to be so heavy that it weighs it down and won't pop up. Okay, that's the thing. And just make sure that if you'll notice right here, it's not glued into this. You don't want it glued into that. You don't want it to be there. You just want it to line up on that score. I'm getting glue there. And then you want to glue this tab, lining them up on the side, the top and the bottom. Just that one tab. Okay. And then you can press it flat, but just make sure that you bend it back and forth a couple of times, that your wiper is working and nothing is, if you've got excess glue, that you're not gluing your card together. You want that movement. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put on the rattle. And you can put this on and angle it at different angles and things like that. Just going to bring it right about there. And put that on. Now we're ready for the little bow. And I'm going to put the glue on the right side this time. And I use the glitter gel pens for my writing. You don't even have to have the writing. You can take that off that Jen Goody bow if you don't want it. I thought it added a nice little extra touch. I'm going to glue that down. And I know this seems backwards, guys, but I just put a dot in the center of that, and I'm putting a dot of glue on my ribbons here. On the wrong side at that. I don't know why I keep doing it, because I usually glue it to the back of the bow. I didn't do it here because I want it to come on the side of the rattle instead of on it. And so once I place it, then I put a dot of glue at the base to hold it down. Just so I can maneuver it. And I want it to hang off a little on the edge here, not much, because I want it to fit in my envelope. My bow's wanting to pop up. Glue that down. Now I would pull that loose. You see how they're skewed? Just want to make sure that they line up the way you want them. No rhyme or reason, however you want to decorate it. We'll let that dry and then we'll put Nuvo drops there. Now putting your piece on. I tombow mine first just on the edge, and you notice that I don't have the whole banner showing. I just want the congratulations to pop out. Okay? You can bring it further out if you want. You have a little wiggle room, but use your tombow first. Make sure that you're getting that placed where you want it, in the right place when it's open, however you want it to be. And once you have that on there, then I went back. I'm going to make sure that it closes. It's not catching on anything as it comes up or goes down. Make sure you guys can see that it's not catching. Okay. And once I have that, then I am going to flip it over and glue this banner to. Art glitter glue dries clear. So I'm just going to let that dry. Once that's dry, you take your scissors. And the reason that it's square is because you can use different images. You'll want to trim off And don't cut your card because you can't get down in there. Just go ahead and hold it like it's supposed to be while it's open. And trim. And just notch your pieces back. I know I was off camera a little bit there. But all I did was trim down to here. I'm holding it. And I trimmed across here so I know where to pull that out at. And then I did the same thing here. And I haven't cut all the way through yet, but it'll pull off. Okay. And that way you don't have all that edge. And then just trim it up as you need. Let it get good and dry before you do a lot of trimming. Because I did go in and come down just below and cut out a wedge right there at the top. Because I just didn't want that seam. You don't want to take out too much of that piece because you want some stability, okay? You want your card to remain stable when they're working on it and playing with it. But that's all I did was just trim that out. And like I said, if you use a white paper behind your shaker cup or a pattern, something you printed, maybe a baby's face, anything, a little duck, then you can put the white paper, but I would put it in between these two panels. You don't want anything back here that can interfere with your mechanism going up and down. And I pulled mine loose, so you may want to glue it. I used Tombow and it didn't stay. I did glue the other. So I'm just going to bring it down in there. I can see where the glue is, so I'm going to pop that. Well, let's say I am. I'm going to pop it back in there. Just going to keep it lined up straight. There we go. Well, guys, I promise that this does work. I'm just having an awful, awful day. Okay. There we go. Well, I'm going to have to pull this apart and fix it. There we go. Maybe. Straighten it back up. I'm going to flatten that out. Press it back down. I have it on the wrong piece. Guys, don't do as I do, do as I say. Glue yours, don't Tombow it. I am going to pry mine back apart and get that lined up where it's supposed to be. So anyway, it does work. Glue yours in, don't Tombow it, and it will work. I'm looking at that one to see where it sits, and I see it. Maybe I can get it back in. There we go. Yay. Yay. I don't have it quite angled right, but that's right. I apologize that my video today is just off the chart. There we go. I'm going to have to raise it up a little bit more, but it does work. Just make sure that you get yours secured better than I did on this one, and it will work. I don't know if I'm going too far down. I think that's what my problem is. That might work. Nope, it won't stick. I'm going to have to redo my mechanism, but it's not sticking. But that is all there is to putting that card together, guys. Then you're just ready for the envelope. I hope that that helped you guys and showed you how to put that tutorial together. I am going to go and fix my mechanism on this. It's not going to be today because I am, like I said, having one of those days, but I am going to fix it. If you're using Nuvo drops, put those on the front. Let them completely dry. Probably 30 to 45 minutes for a couple of drops like that. And then you can put your drops on the back. And like I said, this card will stand on its own, so you can stand it up on a dresser or anything of that nature. You guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me. I apologize again that I wasn't able to go live. But guys, I am headed to the doctor, see if they can't give me a shot for this headache. You have a wonderful evening, and I will see you guys next Monday.